Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And we are back with I have no idea what. I love his shirt. I'm reading it. Michael Pijanowski. I have no idea what I'm doing. That is so not true, but that is a t-shirt he wears. This man knows many things. Welcome back to the show today. How are you?
Thanks, Jill. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Please say hello to everyone. Introduce yourself. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yes. I actually made a turkey and it turned out great. So
good.
Yeah, that worked out good.
Great.
All right. So my name is Michael Pijanowski. I run Enjoy the Ride Consulting in Addison, Texas. So we're a counseling service. We help awesome people find new ways to interact with their world. So I help people who are dealing with anxiety and depression, help couples in conflict, help people break old habits, form new habits, also help people find relationships and kind of diagnose what's going on within their life to help them have a better experience of life. So I also do group meetings and business settings to help successful people become even more effective. I offer, if you reach out to me on the website, you can get my number, you can find my email address, which is michael@enjoytheridetexas.com, and we can set up a time for a free phone consultation. So we can find out if we really resonate with each other.
Perfect.
Next one, I have a new page on my website I wanted to mention.
Tell us.
So I have a new page for podcasts and videos. So I've got links to our podcasts. Right now, the links are just going to Spotify.
Awesome.
But there's also a description about what we talk about. So when you go to the website, you can look for a specific topic, and then that will take you to the podcast that has that information.
Awesome.
So the other thing is, send me your questions. Let's talk about what you all want to talk about. Shoot me an email and we'll bring it up on the show, and we'll do a whole show on it if we can.
Perfect. And let me say, the holidays are here, if you don't mind. But to me, you want to be with someone you love during the holidays. It could be depressing if you don't have that significant other. Dating is a big topic, which I think is a good topic for the day, because those holiday parties are coming up, and you may feel alone. You may feel happy being proud and solo, but at the same time, dating is something I think that's on all of our minds, unless you're seriously happily married. But we all want to be happy and find someone, in a sense. So let's talk about dating. This is your expertise. So where shall we begin? Okay,
so I want to start first with a quote. And so the quote is, "Dating is a place to practice how to relate to other people." And it's a quote by Henry Cloud. And so the way I view dating and relationship is that it's an opportunity to learn about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is really I think missed by a lot of people who are just looking for somebody that makes them happy. But in the world that I'm in, it's really an opportunity to help us grow. We help each other grow through relationship, whether it's friends or intimate partners. When you get into an intimate relationship, the stakes are higher, and it brings up more of our emotional baggage. And so baggage is really the first thing I wanted to talk about, is because, and kind of talk about what it is and why it's something that needs to be dealt with. So we have baggage about, let's say, our ex. We have baggage about our job, our boss. We have baggage about our family. So we have all this stuff that we have inside of us, emotional issues that maybe in some cases we have not really dealt with. So if we have so an ex is a great place to go, because whenever you meet somebody new, first thing you want to know is, okay, kind of what happened to your other relationship. And so And I guess what we're really trying to do is we're trying to see from the other person, how much of that did they let go? Are they okay with themselves? Are they okay with their ex and what transpired, or are they carrying some anger that they really need to deal with? And so, the first thing before you get out and date is really reflect on yourself. Take a look at take a look at your triggers. When you get triggered, and maybe even when you're with your kids, you get triggered about your ex because they remind you. And so this is all stuff that we need to work on before we get into the dating scene, because we're carrying a lot of this baggage, and it does need to be dealt with. I've met I've met a couple of gals where they told me, well, they just got divorced within a month or two ago. And so I always tell them, here's the deal.
Nice meeting you, but we all know.
So and actually, there's one gal, we stayed friends for like a year and a half, but I told her, I says, listen, you need to go out there and date as many guys as you can, and really, experience a lot of different people, and instead of just locking down with the first one that pays attention to you, especially when you're fresh out of a relationship. And I always say that you may think that you're okay, but and I remember this when I first got divorced, and I was like, oh, I'm okay. And oh, no. There was just a lot of emotional stuff that needed to be dealt with. And so now because I went through it, I can look at that and say, well, you know what? We all have a certain amount of baggage. And if you've just got out of a relationship, you really need to work with that before you really, friendships are fine, but before you really start getting into a partnership scenario, it's best that we kind of, clean out the closet.
Yeah.
So.
Perfectly said. And speaking of baggage, let me ask you this. How does it work? And it sounds like a bad term, but I'll explain to you what happened was a few years ago. I'll never forget my ex-boyfriend's mother. I was pregnant, but I was still friends with him and his family. And she's like, oh, now she's going to have baggage. And I'm like, is she referring to my children as baggage? Some people refer to, oh, they have baggage. And I think right away that means you have children. But that's also something in the dating world, the older we are, you also have to come to expect. If you really don't want kids, you shouldn't be dating someone with kids. But and I don't think they're baggage, but someone used that term. So, but that's also another thing as well, right? I mean, most people who have kids would not mind kids. Some who don't may not. So that's something that has to be discussed as well in the dating world right away. Like I know in those dating profiles and stuff, it says married, divorced, one kid, household, don't want kids. It's good to know that stuff up front.
It is, I'm with you there that, kids are not baggage. It's a term that they're using. It's, maybe it's for somebody, it's not what they prefer, but it's certainly not baggage in the way that I'm using the word. The way that I'm using the word is just strictly emotional discord within us. It's just the emotional energy that we're carrying with us that's causing problems in the rest of our lives. And so, I mean, kids, they're certainly not baggage. And so, you're right though. I mean, you need to know up front. I mean, so, and I was in a relationship with a gal who had a younger son, and we were together for like 3.5 years, and he was 13 when we started out, and it was great. I mean, I have no issue with that, and I enjoy mentoring, and so that's good. Other people may not. They may be, they may be on the other side of that, where they don't, they want. They don't want that distraction in between, I guess, of like, well, I have to take care of my kids, and then they feel all disconnected, like, oh, she's always, or he's always, going with the kids, or, they're more important than me. And well, of course they are. They're your kids. I mean, why would you not think that? But as far as baggage, no, that's not in the way I use it. So
good. I'm just saying.
But thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. All right, let's talk about maybe the most important. We'll say what attribute would be the most important to be successful at dating.
So the most successful thing is really confidence, because you're when you're talking to somebody else, you are expressing how you feel about yourself when you communicate.
Sure.
And so there's different levels of, everybody has a different level of confidence. And so what we will tend to do is we will be attracted to someone that has a very similar level of confidence. So if your confidence is not very good, the person that you're going to feel the most attraction to will be somebody that is on a fairly even plane with you. So if you're not happy with where you're at and your level of confidence, then it's time to do some inner work. Give me a call, shoot me an email. Let's do some work.
Absolutely. Well, I guess everyone has their, but at the same time, attributes of dating. But you have to be, I mean, it's so hard to to learn, to take the time to learn. But is there like patterns of people like when you're dating, right? Going into this, you're an expert in a sense. So like I would be so like intimidated to sit down with you on a date because I feel like he's, oh my God, he's going through like a checklist. How do you deal with it?
Oh man, I actually this was like 2 weeks ago. I went out with a gal and so she asked me, okay, so what's going on in your brain right now? Are you analyzing me or, oh man. Yeah, so I suppose there's some of that, but no, I'm not analyzing more than anybody else. I'm making an assessment based on, what I see, what I feel, the energy, and so, yeah, I get that. And so
he's like checking boxes in the corner. Shit, this. No, I know you're good.
Right. No, I totally get that. It's just one of the hazards of
the field, right?
Yeah.
What attributes would you say limit us in dating and in life in general?
Absolutely anxiety, neediness. Neediness is just
a turn off.
It can be very subtle. It can be very, pervasive. And again, we tend to attract somebody that is on par with us. And so if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, if you know that you are needy in relationship, then it would be better to kind of work on that first, because I'll guarantee you the people that you will be attracted to are going to be different than the past people you were attracted to. It's just how it works. It's like non-needy people do not date needy people. And so, and that it just goes both ways. So somebody who's really needy that sees somebody really confident, they may feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. And, so there's all that going on. So just to keep in mind that, we're, the people that we're attracted to, there's some balance that has to take place in the personalities and where we're at. And so it's really a great idea to to work on ourselves, to get ourselves to a better level. Yeah. I've noticed, and more than any book can teach you, my own life has shown me that as I evolve, I keep attracting a little different, and I don't want to say better because it's not, we're not, none of us are better or worse than the other. We're just different. And so, our preferences change, and we find that the people that we are really kind of attracted to, it changes with us. And so it's really, I find dating to be really, I find it fun. I learn a lot about myself, and I also talk to a lot of people who, they say, oh, dating sucks. I was at a party like 3 years ago, and this gal was talking to me, and she was really interested in like talking about dating with me. And so we were in this really, good conversation. And so, she said that dating sucks. And I said, well, I enjoy it. I meet interesting people. I have a good time. And my takeaway from that was we were both getting what we expected. And so when I go on a date, I don't have any expectation other than I'm going to have some interesting conversation with somebody that I've found attractive and I feel some resonance with. And I'm going to have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Period. Zip. Because I have no idea. And so when I put
that's what your shirt says.
Yes, I have no idea what I'm doing. And
yes, you said it.
Yeah, I don't know. And so when we like, oh, maybe this is the one, and then we start ignoring red flags, and we're trying to fit them into this box, and we're doing all this stuff instead of just saying, I
You
had a
just
really
go
good
have a
time. And
good time,
it's either
enjoy.
let's get together again, or it was fun, but probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. So what advice would you give our listeners out there today in regards to maybe some things they could do to have a better dating experience?
So all about developing ourselves. So join a Toastmasters group, work on your public speaking skills. You could read. I mean, read books, read whatever interests you. I mean, books that, and I wouldn't say like go out and read romance novels. I don't know what that's going to do for you. I mean, a lot of ladies, they love that kind of stuff, but it's books that maybe you want to read books about wine, or maybe you want to read books about, in my case, I read books about spirituality. It's like almost all I read. I used to read a lot of psychological stuff until I, kind of turned that corner. And so you do what really speaks to you. Everybody has their own interests, and if you really dig into them, then you become a more interesting person, because you've got something that interests you. If you're like some 25-year-old guy and all you do is play video games, you're not going to have a very interesting conversation with any woman.
No.
And there's a lot of them out there, because I talk to some of these gals, and it's like, and so, you can go to dance lessons, and some of these places are really good places to meet people as well. Dance lessons, you can drive Lyft or Uber for a while, and if you're really having trouble, holding a conversation with people, to do stuff like that, and be open to meeting new people. And don't think that, I'm only going to talk to people that I'm interested in. I talk to everybody. We're all people, and it's all practice. And we become better. We become better by doing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any other advice you want to share?
Let's see. Well, I mentioned the dance lessons. That was so. I want to go back to the dance lessons, because that actually had a special significance for me. And this goes back to the work of David Data, where he talks about polarity in relationship, masculine, feminine. And so couples dancing is all about two people in sync with each other, and one person leads, the other one follows. And so dance to me is a metaphor for relationships. So it's not a boss subordinate relationship when you're on the dance floor. It is a gentle suggestion that this is the way we're going, and it's being in sync with each other. So for me, that was actually, I was using dance as a part of a practice to kind of cultivate my masculine essence more. And then as I talked to a lot of ladies, I found out that a lot of professional women really like couples dancing, because it's the one time in their day when they don't have to push all this masculine energy. They can relax. They don't have to think about what move's coming next. They become sensitive to following, and they can relax in their feminine and just enjoy. And I've heard this so many times, because I was curious. I wanted to know, is this really a thing? Is David onto something, or is this just kind of sound like a, cute theory? So yeah, the dance lessons for me kind of, it was, it had a special significance. It wasn't just going there to meet people or learn how to dance. So.
Got it. All right. Well, let's also talk now about maybe the concept of, can we talk about rejection?
Yes.
Right? Some of us deal with it differently, but we've all been rejected. We've all reject. I mean, that's something that maybe would be of interest to us. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So rejection is really actually this past Saturday, I was out in a dance hall, surprise. And so a guy walked up to me that, in the dance community, and he said, man, he says, I really hate getting rejected, on a song that I really like, And I said, yeah, well, I'm not trying to make any deep conversation. I was like, yeah, well, rejection is a part of life. And, it's just goes with the program. And I said, I get rejected all the time. And he looked at me and he like leaned in. He goes, you do? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, what do you what are you thinking? It's like everybody has to go through this. And so actually, I wanted to do a little experiment before this show, and I never got around to it. So I wanted to go out to a place where I was really outside of my demographic and really just experience for myself kind of a high level of rejection. And just sometimes it's good to do that, to go out and say, hey, I'm gonna approach, I'm gonna see what it feels like to get shut down. Does it bother me? Does it not bother me? What does it feel like? Hey, I'm still alive. She told me to, go kiss off, and hey, and I'm still alive, or no, thank you, or whatever, and so, sometimes that can be a good practice to go out and notice when you get rejected, but also know that those people have preferences, and I have preferences, you have preferences. And so, it's almost like when you think about it, almost like a needle in a haystack. We're trying to align our preferences, that I prefer somebody who prefers me. And, and I also told this guy, I said, I'm really comfortable knowing that the majority of women don't think of me as dating material. They don't like me in that way. And I'm totally okay with that, because everybody has preferences. And, just because I think somebody's pretty doesn't mean that they should like me. Mm-hmm. They have preferences, and I have preferences. So, when some gal approaches me and I'm doing the same, it's the same side of that coin. So I have to reject at times, and it's just the way it goes. I mean, hey, if you don't meet my preferences or I don't meet yours, it's not personal. There's nothing personal about it. It's just, we're just living our lives,
Absolutely. I get it. Now, what about people not feeling, we all want to feel attractive, look a certain way. What are some tips to making you feel better from the inside out? Would you mind sharing? That's going to make us.
You mean like a nose job and Botox?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
No. So yeah, finding that inner peace, doing things that really bring us joy. And we become attractive when we learn to love ourselves, and we become peaceful, and people see that and they want to interact with us. They feel that sense of peace, and they want some of that. So I mean, it's really just working on yourself. Now, as far as the other stuff, you want to do some beauty treatment or whatever. And all that stuff's fine if you do it for the right reasons. It's just like buying a, Porsche or a Cadillac or anything. If you're buying it because you need that to feel better, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
If you're doing it because, well, you love yourself and you want to do this, and you don't need it to like feel better about yourself.
Define yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, define yourself. Right. And so, chances are when you do a lot of inner work, as far as, all the, outward appearance, of course you take care of yourself, but you're probably not going to be as worried about it because you're whole within. And we're all getting older. So, the expiration date's there, I mean, I'm 58, and, I just think about, it's 70's not that far off really for me. And
yeah.
But I'm enjoying every minute of aging. It's just, and I think that's a part of it too, so you're attractive when you're okay with yourself.
I think when you're feeling good, yeah, it's about self-esteem and self-confidence, no matter what, you look like. It's about what you feel like. Absolutely. All right. Hold on, Michael. We got one more for you before we have to go. And my phone froze. What's the last note you want to share with us?
Okay. How much time we got?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. We can go through a few quotes if you'd like. So first one is, dating is about finding out who you are and finding out who others are. If you show up in a masquerade outfit, neither's going to happen. And that's from Henry Cloud. Another one is, the whole point of an intimacy is to serve each other in growth and love, hopefully in better ways than we can serve ourselves. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why engage in intimacy if your growth and love are served more by living alone? Intimacy is about growing more
Hmm.
than you could by yourself through the art
Yeah.
of mutual gifting. And that's David Data.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, I've got that one up on my bookshelf because that one's,
Do
yeah.
Do you have any good dating quotes? Do you want to leave us with a dating quote or dating advice?
Yeah, love
Sum
doesn't
this
make the
up.
world go round. Love makes the ride worthwhile.
Mhm.
And that's Shannon Elder.
Wow.
So how much time do we have now?
Minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Okay, so back to my page for the podcast. If anybody
let's
wants
talk.
to, go to the website. You can find the podcast. You can find a description of what we talk about. You'll be able to, kind of drill down of what you're really looking for. And right now, the links only point to Spotify, but I'm going to update that to
Perfect.
other platforms.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. So, and tell us the website again. It's
EnjoyTheRideTexas.com.
beautiful, and pleasure speaking with you, and looking forward to the next time we talk. Holiday season is here. Dating is in the air. We all want that special someone. So we got to work on ourselves first, I think, before you can attract someone, right? Self-love comes
Absolutely.
first. You have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy the ride, Texas. Enjoy the ride, everyone.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.